What's going on, everyone? You're back with your boy Jono for another quick math lesson. Today we're going to look at cumulative frequency tables and graphs. So we're just going to start off with what cumulative frequency means. Cumulative as a word just means increasing by successive addition. So additions over and over again. So that means cumulative frequency just means frequency increasing by addition from what's happened before. And we're going to see that it's really easy to wrap your head around. All we need to know is that cumulative means an addition of everything that has happened before, increasing over and over and over. So the tables for cumulative frequency are almost exactly the same as our frequency tables that we've gone through before, but this time there's one extra column. So we've got the score, the frequency, and then a third column called cumulative frequency, where we just add up the frequencies again and again. I kind of like to think about it as like a keeping tabs column because it just tells you where we're up to as we go through the table. So for this one here, our scores are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the frequencies are shown below. So for the first row, the 0 scores, the frequency is just the 14 people that got 0. So that's nice and easy. Then to find out what goes below that, we need to take those 14 people and then account for the people that got 1 as well. So all we've got to do is do the 14 and then add in that cell. So for this, it's just 14 plus 21, which is equal to 35. This is all we've got to do here. Because each time we're doing a successive addition, we only have to do the number above plus the number below and to the left. So the next one is 35 plus that 27, which is equal to 62. Done. Now we've got to do 62 plus those 18 people that got 3, and that's equal to 80. Finally, 80 plus that 9 is 89, and we're done. So that's all we've got to do these cumulative frequencies. We just have to add up the frequencies basically, making sure we're just doing one step at a time. So the 89 is the total amount of data points we have. So for this, it could have been games played because we're keeping score, but all we need to know is that 89 is now the total amount of data that we've taken throughout the experiment. So because of this, finding the median is actually really easy. 89 plus 1 divided by 2 is 45. So the 45th term is the median. And because we've been doing the cumulative frequency on the side, we just have to look at where 45 would fall. So we go from 35 up to 62. So 45 would be in that data set. So the median is just 2. Happy days. So the big pro tip while you're doing these is just make sure the cumulative frequency column is always increasing. Unless there's a 0 and it stays the same, it cannot go backwards. So we're only going up or staying the same in some circumstances. But this is just a really good way for you to check whether or not you're doing this correctly. And then when we graph this, it's really, really simple. Again, we're going up the whole time, so your graph should look like that, but we just have to put in the score each time. So one way to think about it is that the 0 is just the zeros, and then above the 1 is the ones and the zeros. The 2s are the 2s, the 1s and the zeros. So we're going up every single time. One thing that is important for these ones is just leave a little gap at the start. That is really important. And as we go up, I would like you to put the bars touching each other. So they're going off from the last one. So this is pretty simple. We've just got to go above 0, we've got 14. Above 1, we've got 35. So there'd be 21 as a gap, then 62, then 80, then 89. So if you're reading the graph without any other information, the difference between the two columns would be how many people got 2, for example. So that jump from 35 to 62, we could go, oh, there must have been 27 people in that gap, and that makes sense. So working backwards off these is a little bit hard, but it's not too difficult. Then the other thing we could do is make a line graph come off this. So in order to do this, we're making a frequency polygon. So all we have to do is put a dot at the end of each bar. So making sure we start from the x-axis from this one, or the origin of the graph, and then going to the end of each bar, and then we just join up those red dots. And again, just a really good check to make sure you're doing this correctly. These are always increasing. So the bars are always going up, the line graph's always going up. Whichever one you use is fine, but as long as we are going up, you're doing it right. So for this one, we're going to look at test results. We've got students that got 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and we want to work out the cumulative frequency for this. So again, all we've got to do is start with those 4 students that got 6 and put a 4 there. Then we've got to add the 8 students that got 7. So the students that got 6 or 7 is 12. So this is exactly the same as the one before. Nice and cruisy. And then to finish off this column, we're actually going to work out how many marks each student got in their row. So the 4 students that got 6 marks would have accounted for 24 marks in total. So all you've got to do is multiply the score by the frequency, and that'll get you that number. So the first one, like I said, is 24. So the next one, we had 8 students that got 7. 7 times 8 is 56. So that's how many marks those 8 students got. 11 students scored 8. So we got 88 marks there. 9 students scored 9. So 81 marks there. And then we had 3 students score 10. So 30 marks there. This is really important because now we can actually add in another column to work out the cumulative amount of marks as well. So now we've got the total number of people that did the test, and now we're working out the total number of marks that were gotten by each row. And we do this in the exact same way. Those 24 have to add on to the 56, which gets us up to 80. That's nice and cruisy. Then those 80 get added onto the 88 marks from the next row, which is 168. Add on the 81 from the next row, which is 249. And then finally add those 30 on at the end, 279. That's done. The reason we do this is because it's now very easy to find the mean. We've got the total number of marks and we've got the total number of students that participated in the test. We just have to look at the bottom of this cumulative frequency table to get this right. Total number of marks divided by total number of students, 279 divided by 35 is equal to 7.9. That's our final answer. That is the average mark for this table. So just making sure that we take the time to go down and across, adding up every time, you'll find these pretty cruisy. The graphing can be a little bit tough, but I know if you take your time, you're going to get these right. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you later.